I'm not sure exactly what to call this episode. It feels like Jackie coming off of a deep 4-day immersion and turning her mic on and letting her thoughts process out loud with you. It's been a while since I've gone into a deep immersion experience for 4 days that has left me both broken open, shifted, and at the same time, finding a deep sense of peace. I traveled home yesterday. I'm recording this literally on the heels of being in one of the most intensive 4-day immersions, which is called a business accelerator or a leadership accelerator specifically. And the truth of the matter is, it really broke down into who we are as humans is going to dictate our stand in life and how we show up in our relationships and business. So let me give you a little context. This last weekend, I went into an immersion experience called the Revenant Process in Boise, Idaho, and did not have a lot of insight into exactly what I was going into. I trusted one of the executive coaches and leaders who was running the experience and had a intuitive sign that I needed to be there. I had a full visceral gut yes, which for any of my human design people as a manifesting generator, that was enough for me to say, I'm meant to be in this room. And so I showed up with a intention of just staying open, an intention of trusting the process, an intention of trusting that I was meant to be there. But other than that, the expectations were minimal. This was different than any other immersion I had been to for multiple reasons, inclusive of even how they structured the 4 days. The 4 days started each morning at 10 a.m. and did not end to 11 p.m. or after. For those of you listening, probably like me, when I was getting prepped to go to this experience, I was thinking, that is a long day. How does this all work? The truth is, when you get into rooms like that, when you put yourself into immersions and you allow yourself to be fully all in, time doesn't feel like it exists. I remember sitting in one of the sessions, one of the experiences, and I looked at my watch when we went in at 10 a.m. and I looked back at my watch and it was 3:10 in the afternoon. I had no concept of time and how much time we had been immersed into this experience. That is when you know that you can start to hit flow states. And those are the experiences from my perspective and from my experiences. You simply cannot get anywhere else unless you allow yourself to step into immersive styles of experiences, physically putting yourself in the room. I have, over the last decade, been involved in deep inner work, deep trauma work, coaching containers, spiritual work. I have done business events. I have had business coaches. I have had financial coaches. You name it, there's a likelihood I've touched it in the last 10 years when it comes to making true investments into not just myself, but my life, my health, my business. And I can pinpoint step change moments in my life on the heels of the rooms I got into. If you've sat on the sidelines and watched other people put themselves into these environments, mastermind groups, immersion groups, group coaching groups, retreats, and you're thinking, or there's some sort of internal dialogue where you're thinking, gosh, I'd really love to go to something like that. Trust that ping. You're meant to go and be in a room. Trust the leader or the pull as you get to the different directions. I'm not saying the rooms I've been in are the right rooms for you. I'm asking you to trust your intuition to guide you to the rooms you're meant to be in. Immersion experiences for me are the things that break me down and allow me to build back up time and time again. So coming at you from a really raw place and putting a mic in front of me and processing with you today, these rooms expand you. They break us down and break us open. And for me, have been some of the greatest gifts in my life. I'm going to do an entire episode on the Revenant process because it warrants its own episode. And I'm going to share with you some of the stories and the key breakdown moments that then led to these beautiful shifts in perspective and opened up new possibility for my life. The truth is, I'm not there yet. I'm still integrating and processing coming off of this incredible experience. One of my commitments and when I started this podcast was to turn on the mic without always having a plan. Life isn't about always having a plan. And as I was sitting here thinking today, gosh, am I really ready to talk about this process? I was reflecting back to this assertion I made about the podcast and what the intention of it was in the first place, which was to bring you into it all, inclusive of when I don't even have my thoughts clear and I'm still processing all of the feelings and emotions and experiences that I just went through, the connections that were made in this room. And as I was sitting here, I was reminded of something that has deeply touched me through my entire healing process. And I was so greatly reminded of it this weekend. It goes back to a philosophy that I found when I was first diagnosed with my brain tumor, and I started to get immersed into a more spiritual lens. It comes from A Course in Miracles. It comes from Marianne Williamson, a book that I read called A Return to Love every year since I was diagnosed with that brain tumor. Gabby Bernstein's very much the philosophy of A Course in Miracles as well, if you've heard that name. The intention is that everything breaks down to either love or fear. Am I coming at this situation, this relationship, this business opportunity, my life, my health, from a place of love? Or am I coming at this from a place of fear, clinging, what I don't want to have happen, seeking enoughness or worth? If you get to the core of I am not enough, it's a fear. So when we break things down into, is this coming from a place of love or is this coming in from a place of fear? In my experience, it can realign how I show up in the world. It can realign the stories I'm telling myself, my perspectives start to shift. This entire weekend to me was a shift in perspective. It opened up possibilities that I simply did not see 5 days ago on my journey to Boise. 5 days ago, the stories I told myself were not the same as the stories I'm telling myself coming out. the stands I'm making, the perspective shifts, the opportunities that have opened up. And to me, that's where the miracles unfold. A shift in perspective along the lens of A Course in Miracles is what a miracle is. It's created this beautiful breakdown. And yes, I'm still rebuilding that back up, but the breakdown is what was the shift in perspective and created an opportunity and an opening to see new possibilities. I think these episodes are going to start to be called Raw, Honest Conversations with Jackie. Help Jackie process her emotions of going through these big life transformation experiences. I did just want to hit record without a plan and allow what was meant to come through today to come through. If you are sitting back and you have always felt an urge for more, you know that growth is going to help take you to the next level. Listen to those gut pings. Allow yourself to unfold and get called into the rooms that are going to expand you. If there's one thing that has been true in my last decade of healing, it is that when I surround myself with people who are willing to open fully and share all parts of themselves, their wounds, their darkness, their mess, and we can support each other on a build of wanting to create something new in our lives, magic happens. Big shifts happen. Things start to come into our life that we didn't even know were possible for us. So stop sitting back. This is my invitation to you to lean in. I can't wait to share a more detailed, once I get my head straight, a more detailed observation and lessons and breakthroughs and stories from this weekend. But I wanted to be honest and raw with you today about the fact that I've just moved through a really transformative weekend in my life. And I genuinely believe when I look back in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years time, this weekend will have shifted a perspective and will be one of those pillar milestones in my life that by getting in the room, it unlocked something completely new for me. So I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Jackie Service Show. See you next time.